Next question. What is one piece of advice you could give to an up-and-coming artist, entrepreneur? I know you got a lot, but let's try.
No, I know. Let's try to get one.
Let's try to keep it one.
The ego thing was a big one. That one I think is super important. But I got others. I mean, I said it, but I mean, dude, both about the drive. That is super important. You really gotta like head down. Like that's obviously a vibe. Being able to ego death is super important in terms of being an artist. But I'm trying to think what's another like.
I think even being a human being. Because that's like
we are humans, yeah,
for sure. But that's the thing too, is like when people see you who don't know you, the first thing they see is the art, right? Like I mean, anywhere across the states and even internationally right now, you see a big piece like that, you usually see your tag, and that's what they see. That's their like definition of you, right?
Yeah.
But they don't know like you personally sometimes, and behind the scenes, what it takes for you to keep up with your mental health, spiritually, physically, like all of that stuff. And I've noticed like the ego death is an important part of that. Now there's still befriending the ego and having that, because that's what allows you to operate in this realm.
In confidence, yeah.
In confidence, but you have to have that balance.
Yeah, it's appropriate confidence, yeah.
Yes.
You have to know when to be confident, when to be decisive. That's something to mention. Like a good piece of advice is like decisiveness, for sure. That's something I'm trying to work on, is like instead of responding to someone saying maybe, or being like, oh, like, yeah, maybe, like if someone's like, oh, what are we doing? Like, oh, maybe do this or maybe do this. I try to be more decisive. I try to be like, okay, yes or no. I try to answer things and that's something that's important about like being like a leader and like a commander, is like being very decisive when I tell people what to do, when to do it. That's like important about working with a team, you know, because they look to you for the answers and movements and plays, and I have to be like, yes, like, and that's something I'm really working on, is like appropriately communicating what I want to say and being like very concise about it and decisive. Like, yes, I want to do this, and then we're gonna do this, and then we're gonna do this. Very like boom, boom, boom. Not like, oh, maybe, like aloof answers like that.
Yeah.
That's not helpful in leadership. It's much helpful to be decisive and navigating.
Takes you know, and I think that's stuff that's like practice what you preach. It's like having discipline and discernment for the greater good.
Yes, right. It's all about progressing as a community.
Huge.
That's also a table. So that was a piece. That was a resin piece that, as you can see, it yellowed on the top there.
Yeah.
That was a piece from a collab show I did with Vika Petlak, the photographer.
Okay, because I see the photography in the back.
Yeah. So like, and then I literally scribbled on it because I remade it. I had to remake it for someone. Wow. So now it's literally a table. That's what I also hold a very high quality standards with a lot of the artwork. Like I finish a lot of pieces, and even if after we've spent 80 hours on it or 200 hours, sometimes I'll scrap a painting. If it's not like perfect, I restart. Most of the paintings that you see, I feel like they've been redone like twice or 3 times. Like basically everything, just because like the smallest thing, if it's not to par, then I'm like, okay, swap it, restart. And that goes for everything.
So is there a new method that you do? Do you repurpose that painting, or?
No, it's usually literally destroyed, or if it can be sanded down, like for instance, like wood panels or something, sometimes you can sand those down and start from zero, but if not, I literally like tag over it and like destroy it, cut it into multiple pieces and throw it out or whatever. But that's also, but a lot of this stuff, like I said, can be restarted from its core. So a canvas piece that can be sanded down, wood panel box can be sanded down. So it's like, it might just be like literally just blacked out and restarted. Yeah. That's the vibe, you know. But that happens generally a lot, you know, more than you'd think. I'm redoing stuff.
Because I think I have like one of your first wooden pieces, right?
Definitely on the earlier side, yeah, which is cool, yeah, because yours has the engravings, which I did by hand, plus the laser cuts on top.
Yeah.
And it's a piece in stain. I've only made 3 pieces out of just wood stain, and you have 2 of them. The other one is carved. Yeah. The other one was the topographical one where I stacked the pieces and then have the multicolor.
That's wild.
Yeah. So those are the only, just because like personally, I'm like I just love paint because I love how flat it is.
Yeah.
I love, like, nothing makes me more excited than like a flat piece of material. You know what I mean? Like limestone. I was like a geek over like polished limestone. You know what I'm saying? Like that was the shit like that. So like when drywall has been like blocked, I'm like so excited. But that's what paint does for me more so than raw material, because I like beautiful raw material, and like that is something I'm gonna do in the future, is like do a show that's, I have a show concept. I don't want to give it away because it's a fucking lit idea. Yeah, but I have a show concept. Yeah, so I was about to spill the beans, but you should look forward to that, you know, coming up. I have many shows coming up, so look forward to a beautiful thing that deals with materials. But for now, I'm really interested in, like I said, just high quality, super polished, everything's perfect. And that's, I mean, it's annoying, and a lot of people that work with me, they're annoyed because they're like, oh, it looks amazing, you know, like you're crazy, but it's just like, you know, if I want to maintain the quality and the reputation that I have, like I have to be that harsh on it. And no matter what the cost and no matter how much time we lost, like it has to be tip top. Or else
that's powerful.
Yeah, and I don't mind it, and it feels so honest to me. And I honestly, it takes me no time to scrap something I spent 200 hours on. I'll literally grab it, rip it. I stab paintings. I'm not even kidding. I literally take it, you know, because it's like, I get a little bit of aggression out because I'm like, fuck, I just wasted 200 hours, but it's like, it feels nice sometimes to just slash something. Yeah. Spent like,
it's a good lesson too, like
2 or 3 weeks
detachment, you know, not being attached to, like, I feel like one of the big things I'm learning, and a lot of artists go through this on your journey, people are so attached to the end product. And like, this is a good lesson. It's like, even if you get to the end product, it might not be the end product.
Yeah.
And that's powerful, being able to let go of that.
And that's something I also can mention, like piggyback off that, is like something I've noticed with artists is like a lot of people, I try to work fast, and I try to like work on, you know, obviously I work on a lot of things at once, but not really. Like I'm kind of like finishing this piece, finishing this piece, finishing this one, because I've noticed that when other people work on paintings, you start to, if you take too much time in between sessions, you start to like ideate what you want it to look like, and then your ideation is like, oh, maybe I could do like red lips, like let's say you're painting a character, like maybe I could do red lips and then I could do this, but you start ideating it, and then you build up what it's going to look like in your head, but you're like only this far in the actual work days, and then this becomes so untangible that like you end up never getting there, because it's not looking like what you wanted to in your head, and then you get upset. I notice that so often. I watch people, and I notice like that's what happens with painting. It's like, but that's why it's important to like power through and do long work days, because like if you can get it to the idea that you wanted, you're gonna get it a better end product, because like it's sometimes too hard. Like you can't do everything your mind wants, and then something goes wrong, and you start deviating, like because like the shape of the lip is different. You're like, oh shit, this is different now. Then that idea is not gonna work. And then you start like freaking out and focusing on that stuff instead of just focusing on the original strong idea that you had in the beginning, and like trusting the initial vision and the instinct.
Yeah.
So that's something I feel like a lot of people need to hear that.
Definitely.
And listen to that. Stick to your gut and your initial idea.
Share with us one key lesson that you've personally learned over the past 12 months.
Fuck. Let me think. That was a big one.
And it doesn't even have to be art related.
Yeah.
It could be life. You know, I imagine you learned some key life shit over the past 12 months.
I guess this is random, I guess, but one thing I'm trying to learn more, I feel like I'm trying to relax a little bit and enjoy life more, which is important. like actually, you know, because like I have been working so hard for so long that like I've been valuing the importance of the small time off that I do have. I've been valuing that and making sure that it's like a complete time off, and like I don't get the pleasure or liberty of like really taking breaks and being like, oh, like in the future, like I like to play the joke that I'm like gonna take like a month off. Like I've been saying that for 7 years that I'm gonna take a month off, but like I try to, like my vacations are like music festivals, you know, like I'll go to like I'm missing it this year because the show, but Miami Music Week, like I've been 6 years in a row. Like that's shit that I do for fun. Or like in the summertime, I go to Ibiza to go, usually for my birthday, I'll go like do that kind of stuff. So I try to like, when I do take time off, I try to go see music and enjoy that because I love it so much. Like it's such a close thing to my heart, such a big inspiration. But just trying to like really, this is something else I've learned is also, because like typically artists have the problem of like, or what I used to do is work crazy hours and work all through the night. I've adjusted, I think probably a little pre-COVID, like right before, I started adjusting to like regular studio hours. So like I'm not a morning person, like I like starting at noon, but working till 4 a.m. But I'm trying to move that forward. So now it's completely forward. Now it's, well, that also comes with working, you know, nationally with people. Is one of my managers is in Miami, the other manager is in Chicago. So I have to be on their timeline. They're blowing me up at 8 a.m. here because it's you know, whatever, 11 a.m. there. So that's something, is shifting my time schedules and learning that, you know, you're working from 10 to 10, or you're working from 8 a.m. to 10 p.m. and at 10 p.m. you're done working. Just so that I can like properly rest and like take care of myself. That's another thing I learned actually recently is, thankfully to COVID, because like previously my job is like I travel like in the last 2 years I flew 214 times. Wow. That was my 2020 and
your
21.
miles program going crazy.
Your
miles going crazy.
I know, so there's that. But that, I'll show you guys the boarding passes. I don't want to get them now. But that really helped not traveling so much, because that was that's a low year. Before that, 2018 was even more than that, 2019. So this is an even better amount. But that's helped me because like I eat like 3 meals a day at home and stuff, and like that's important, is like taking care of yourself and like doing that. Like I gained weight, like a significant amount of weight just from like eating appropriately. Because like if you're on a mural, you're like busy working, like you might be available to eat at post midnight. That's when your dinner is and your options are minimal. So you're not really getting like quality food and getting stuff, but like from being at home more and working in the studio more, instead of being like out doing this festival or doing this thing, I've gotten to like eat healthily, and like we cook breakfast every day as a team. Like every day we eat breakfast. We do French toast, we do egg sandwiches, and like we do burrito, like that kind of stuff. We cook lunch, we'll make food like for dinner. We'll do like a chicken pasta, broccoli thing. Like just eating that stuff has like changed my life so much. Like it's important to like, yes, it's important to give it your all, but you also have to understand that like you do have to take care of yourself, and that's been a pleasure. Eating like 3 good meals a day is like, that's like something I haven't had for like, you know, 10 years.
Wow.
Yeah, like some places I've lived like almost like don't even have kitchens. Like you know, in Canvas, like I didn't even consider that place to have a kitchen. You know, so like, you know, not eating takeout and delivery three times a day is like super nice.
It's huge.
Yeah.
It's a big couple lessons in there.
Yeah.
That was the bonus round.
You can pick one.
That was the bonus round.
Yeah, man. So that's also part of the process, is like shipping stuff to Australia is like $1 billion. You know, so.
Yeah. And these are specifically decorative pieces. This is not
definitely.
On the show.
No, unfortunately not. Definitely can't do any skating on them.
So this is something he just sent back to you?
Yeah.
You haven't even opened it yet?
No, I repackaged them on. They're not coming out until June. So,
yeah.
So that's. But I'm also gonna like paint a little bit on it, but I think it'd be cool for you guys to see. It's pretty fucking sick. Cross-continental collab, like the fucking, you know.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah, so those are, you know, butterflies and stuff, like,
damn,
that's like parts of pieces of mine. Like same thing, like a couple strips. Like that's the red and black strip that's on the wall. It's right there.
That's wild.
Right.
And then the stickers are underneath or
Yeah,
on
that's
top?
underneath.
Damn, that's classic.
And then this is like more of like a subtle design, which I think is fucking crazy, but with the snake skeleton inside.
Damn.
And then that's pieces of like stencils I've used like all throughout, you know, for years. You can see like the paint specs on them and everything.
Dude, that is so cool.
Yeah.
That is so cool.
What is one challenge you can think off the top that that you've overcome and has really pushed you as an artist to get to the next level, whether it be life in your personal life or, you know, with the artwork and anything like that?
One challenge.
Yeah. Like even a situation or like something you were in where like it was like a roadblock kinda and it switched it up and you really had to like take that moment to be like, oh, I gotta move differently. Like I got an
answer
Yeah.
for sure. There's a lot of instances actually, and something I'm always trying to combat and be ahead of is like legal things and like contractual things, because it's like art is a business in the end of the day, and like there's like business things going on where, you know, transactions of large sums of money, purchasing materials, fronting things, like it's more of a business than it is just like a hobby, you know? So I can't emphasize enough to people how important it is to like have your ducks in line and like sign agreements and make sure people sign contracts and get deposits and things like that, and have non-disclosure agreements and work for hire agreements and things like that. Like that's stuff that I implement, and I'm always on the go thinking of how can I do this, how can I push that, because that's important. Like I said, because you will get burned. I've gotten burned. You know, I've gotten cases where people have not paid the remainder, things like that, and obviously like all of that has been taken care of, and I learned my lesson, and now that there's no room for error, because also that's what's nice about having a team as well, because like sometimes when you're the artist, like you're so focused on creating that you're just like, oh, it's no big deal. Like they'll pay me eventually. It's a full-time job chasing people for payment and filling out their invoices and their W-9s and W-2s and getting the thousands of emails. Like that is like, that's why I respect my management so much, because they have to work so hard. That's a full-time job, just getting the payment and just to get it to that point. Because there's probably a lot of artists out there that are doing themselves that don't have time for that, and they end up probably forgetting about stuff. Yeah. And then 9 months later, you're like chasing stuff, and then you're like, oh, well, it was all word of mouth, and you're trying to look through text. But like to eliminate all that, you sign a contract. You don't do work until you get 50% deposit. Like, you know, like that's all something really important that I think everyone should try to do, no matter what medium of art you're working in. Like have your ducks in a row. Like that's your safest bet.
Straight up. That's a key.
Sign your contracts.
That's a key. I feel like this is perfect timing. Next question, because of some of the things you shared with us before. But what's in store for 2022 and beyond?
2022 is going to be a busy year. Looking up to, obviously the most recent thing is going to be my solo exhibition in London at Maddox Gallery, March 31st. That's going to be on run for a month. It's in the Mayfair neighborhood. It's going to be a crazy gallery. I've been waiting to do this for 2 years, basically. It's going to feature like amazing optical artwork, some of the stuff that you guys saw over there, and then some. It's like got like crazy tight lines. Like I have a big love for, and it's kind of funny because I call them the polymorphs. That's what they're called, and they're such organic shaped lines. But like people don't realize like how much I love just straight lines. Like I'm like obsessed with art. Like I geek over 70s and 80s optical art and like illusion things like that. Like so this is really me flexing that and like showing my love for that, and it also like reflects on like there's a whole like ethos behind it also that like reflects on like why I'm doing that style. That's for another day. Also, I have my next NFT drop on Nifty Gateway, April 21st, which is right before Earth Day, and it's going to be in the same line as my previous drops, which are all kind of like have like the environmental aesthetics to them. But this one's going to be even crazier, even deeper dive into that. There's also going to be a large charitable component, which I think is super important when you're talking about things like the Earth. That's something I've done also every Earth Day. Like last year, I did a big print release on Oceanum, which is what it was called, and gave a huge chunk of that to Project Zero in London, which is like an ocean charity, preservation type thing. I also have some large-scale murals coming up in New York that I'm excited about for springtime, as well as Chicago. Got some projects like that. My birthday's in July, so I'm gonna be in Ibiza for sure. I'm obviously gonna be, continue. Oh, I also have another solo exhibition in Mexico City in June coming up.
Nice.
And then another one in Chicago in November at Vertical Gallery.
Okay.
So that's gonna be cool. You're gonna see a totally different body of work for that, a different show idea than I was mentioning earlier. Completely different. It's gonna be beautiful. I think it's gonna be all about textures. That's the one that's gonna be a texture show. So it's gonna be tight. It's gonna be different work, stuff that you haven't seen from me. And then obviously, we have Art Basel that I'm already like in talks with brands about doing some collaborative things and typical stuff like that. So and I mean, I'm sure I'm actually missing a few things here and there, but I'm excited to jump in, and just keep pushing.
Nice, man. Busy year.
Yeah, and that's just like a couple. I have things scattered throughout that. So it's also like I'd like to expand. Like I'm always trying to do murals in new places. Yeah. So we're pushing and we're in talks. Like those are the confirmed things, but obviously like I'm in talks about doing some murals out in Europe, talking to somebody about doing something in Canada, an exterior one in Canada because I have interior stuff there. Just trying to expand to other parts of the world. Yeah. Obviously COVID hindered that a little bit. I was a little bummed out because I had like a really like expansive plan for like those 2 years. I had like some crazy murals, like some Asia projects, a bunch of stuff in Europe. Had to shelf all of that, but I'm picking up where I left off and, obviously go down to South America. I got some talks with some Brazil stuff, so we'll see. Mexico, Brazil, Europe, Asia. Just keep expanding and keep, showing people the art and the movement.
Lefty, out there.
Out there.
The vibes. Respectfully.
Yeah, that's kind of where the name comes from, honestly.
Respectfully.
This is also an important piece to mention. This one is like super pivotal to me. It's the only painting of mine that hangs in the studio. If you've known that actually is finished. You know what I mean? Like not anything that gets worked on, it's like put away. Yeah. But this piece is like something that I love and it's very like personally close to me. I obviously I have a collection, what I call the vault, of like a bunch of my own pieces from the beginning till now. But this one is like one of my all-time favorites. This was like a 20+ layer screen print with hand embellishments, with like spray paint and ink. And the cool part about this one is that this was from an edition of, I think it made about 15, but I had to make 35. So this is a good example. I made 35 just to get the like 10 that were released. So you have to make more because like that's how much quality control is. Like, however, made 25 of those didn't make the cut. But this one in particular, what's crazy about this series is, and each piece in the series, it looks completely different. Not just from like the hand embellishments, but literally every part of every screen was completely different. And like this decrepit style, like it's not like that. Like the screens were like perfect polymorph screens, but like basically we used like little bits of ink and like we tried to get them to look imperfect. And then I was also putting like hand torn like stencils on top of the screen as it was getting pulled to like push through different parts of the screen, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
so like,
it's so wild when I look.
Yeah.
Viewing it from back there to viewing up here, you can literally see the layers of it.
Right, and then like, so that makes different points of different things pop out. And on top of that, doing the decrepit where it's like little bits of ink, so you're getting these like, distress marks and these kind of bleeds and imperfect prints, because most people would just do a nice solid print, but this one literally, each piece was completely different. Each section of that, like the blue section, I would put torn pieces of paper that I was tearing here before we did the pull, and that's what makes these shapes. And every part of that 20-piece screen print had its own like torn layers on it, which is like
how many layers
insane detail. This is a 20-layer screen print, and then that times however 35 I made. So I made 600 variations throughout the process just to make this piece.
Wow.
And this one, and the blue one, there's only one blue one. There was one blue, green, orange, red, purple, and then there was 10 just grayscale. which is like the black, white, silver, and grays. But that's all that was, and each one, these are originals. They're not, even though that's something that bothers me is the word screen print throws people off. Often people think that it's, yes, I used screen printing, but this is an original.
Yeah.
This is a lot of work. This isn't just a 1-layer print. This is 20 layers of insane work of innovative screen printing. Like the guy I printed this with, he was like, I've never seen anyone do that ever. He's like, I've never, in my 20 years of screen printing, I've never seen anyone use a screen printer the way that I did here. Now it's just off of intuition and like other things too, like, cause it was a machine press. So like these like straight lines right here, I was pulling the paper as the thing was being pulled to get organic stretch lines like I do in the paintings over there. So like instead of it being just like that, like I was literally moving it as it's moving, which is like unorthodox. That's like, not, you know, that's not recommended, but like, I was like, I'm doing it. Yeah, so this was a fun. So this one in particular, like, then the reason why I have this is all 5 of these, like each one of the colors sold, but the person who bought it gifted this back to me because they knew how much I like this one.
Wow.
So that's why I have
That's
it.
amazing.
Yeah, and you know, these are trading like crazy. They're in the hotel in Mexico City now, I think. So
Wow.
they're super random, but yeah, the person was like, gave this to me back for my birthday. They're like, I know how much you rock with it. They're like, I want to give this back. So that's why this is the only finished piece that is hanging in the studio.
Last segment here, last questions, how we like to wrap it up. We'd love for you to share with us your personal idea of paradise.
My personal idea of paradise is probably like a sick all white space, like probably in Ibiza, like crazy, like, you know, beautiful architecture, modern, with some like hardcore techno playing, you know, like probably a party,
Yeah.
like a rave.
Yeah.
So that would probably be my ideal paradise.
Beautiful.
That's where I like to spend my time, you know,
Yeah.
that sort of environment. Just being happy and obviously with friends and just having fun, not taking life too seriously.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's probably paradise.
Yeah. Seems like it exists already.
It does, yeah.
Yeah.
It does.
I
But
love
more of
that.
it, you know, we need more of it. So, and I
100%.
want other people to experience that paradise. So I'm always an advocate. I try to always tell people, like, get out and explore and get out of. There's also personal paradises, you know. Everyone has their own paradise, and I like to respect that.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's cool hearing that's a great question, because it's cool hearing other people's, you know, because I'm sure everyone's like got like crazy nature shit that they're
Yeah.
all about, or, you know, this and that. And I think that's tight. Like, explore your thing, do you, and like what makes you happy. But for me, I like the fucking music, bro. Crazy visuals too.
Yeah.
That's also why I think it's an all white space, because then it's all mappable surfaces. Like, it all could be projection. It all could be, you know, light reflective. You know, like that sort of thing. That's something crucial about these, is all these lights they're all hue, and I can do like crazy. I have like performative apps that do like crazy pulsing and like insane light shows, essentially. You know, every single light. And that's, you know, that's what I'm trying to do with this. I'm trying to make my life this, but, you know,
Yeah.
times 1,000. So.
Beautiful, man. Well, that's a wrap for us here.
Nice.
Thank you.
Thank you, man.
Appreciate you.
Oh yeah, thanks for coming.
Yeah.
It's fun.
Peace, y'all.